In today's video/article, we're diving into one of the biggest storylines surrounding the Toronto Maple Leafs this offseason. What kind of contract Matthew Knies should get after his breakout 2024-25 season? With his impressive performance and the Leafs facing major roster decisions, this negotiation could shape the team's future for years to come. If you enjoy this kind of deep dive into NHL contracts and player analysis, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest Leafs news and insights. Predicting Matthew Knies' next contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Following yet another heartbreaking Game 7 exit, the Toronto Maple Leafs' attention now shifts to their group of pending free agents. Among them, the most significant restricted free agent, RFA, is Matthew Knies. How his next contract shapes up will have major implications for the Leafs' offseason plans, particularly after his breakout 2024-25 campaign. What's next for Matthew Knies? Matthew Knies has quickly become a fan favorite in Toronto thanks to his physical presence and assertive style with the puck. His performance this past season was outstanding. He ranked 41st league-wide in individual expected goals, 9G, with 28.7, according to Evolving Hockey. This put him ahead of star players like Anthony Cirelli, Andrei Svechnikov, Nikita Kucherov, and Brad Marchand. Within the Leafs roster, Knies ranked 4th in 9G, trailing only Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and William Nylander, while notably producing more than Mitch Marner. An impressive feat for a player who is just 22 years old. Potential contract comparables. One of the most common comparisons when projecting Knies' next deal is Matt Boldy. The Minnesota Wild winger signed a 7-year extension following the 2022-23 season, carrying an average annual value, AAV, of $7 million, approximately 8.38% of the salary cap at the time. Boldy was also 22 when he signed. In that season, he posted a 9G of 32.13, ranking 36th in the NHL, ahead of elite names like Kucherov, Mika Zibanejad, and Patrice Bergeron. The key distinction between Boldy and Knies lies in their defensive play. Boldy was in the 96th percentile defensively, according to Evolving Hockey, whereas Knies was in the 39th percentile. That said, this stat doesn't paint the full picture. Knies was effective defensively at even strength. Much of his negative impact came from penalty kill situations. Still, defensively, Boldy had the edge in his contract year, though both players display comparable offensive profiles. Another relevant comparable is Clayton Keller. Keller inked his current deal in 2019, with the contract taking effect in the 2020-21 season. He signed for 8 years at $7.15 million AAV, roughly 8.77% of the cap. At the time, Keller had back-to-back seasons of 65 and 47 points and carried the pedigree of being a 7th overall draft pick. Keller's contract was more of a projection based on his potential rather than his actual performance up to that point, a common theme for high-end RFAs coming off entry-level contracts. While it could be argued that Knies is already a more complete player than Keller was then, team context matters. Keller was already the Coyotes' leading scorer in his rookie season, essentially the guy in Arizona. Knies, while productive, has been more of a supporting piece in Toronto, finishing 5th in team scoring this year and 8th as a rookie. That difference in role could influence the structure and value of his deal. Marco Rossi, a contemporary parallel. Marco Rossi serves as another interesting comparable, albeit one without a current extension. If Rossi signs before Knies, his contract could set a precedent. Both players produced remarkably similar numbers this season. Knies tallied 29 goals and 29 assists for 58 points, while Rossi notched 24 goals and 36 assists for 60 points. Advanced metrics tell a similar story. Knies posted a Corsi for percentage, CF%, of 50.16%, nearly identical to Rossi's 49.97%. Their expected goals for percentages, XGF%, were also comparable. Rossi had a slight defensive advantage, whereas Knies had the edge offensively. Given how parallel their performances have been, it's reasonable to assume that whichever player signs first could set the market value for the other. What should the Leafs do? Taking all these comparisons into account, what should Toronto offer Knies? General manager Brad Treliving has learned from past experiences, most notably, the bridge contract with Matthew Tkachuk in Calgary, which ultimately didn't work out in the team's favor. While no one is suggesting Knies will reach Tkachuk's elite level, the principle remains: bridge deals for core players can be risky unless absolutely necessary due to cap constraints. With Mitch Marner's future in Toronto uncertain, Knies is arguably emerging as one of the Leafs' most important forwards. Ideally, the Leafs would lock up Knies on a medium to long-term deal, somewhere in the range of 5 to 7 years, with an AAV around $6.5 million. However, Knies may prefer a shorter term, betting on his continued development and aiming to maximize his earnings on a future contract. In any case, the outcome of these negotiations will be pivotal for the Maple Leafs roster construction moving forward. All eyes are now on the front office as they navigate this crucial decision. Understanding the importance of Matthew Knies' contract for the Maple Leafs. The negotiation surrounding Matthew Knies' next contract is about much more than simply rewarding a young player for a good season. It represents a critical juncture for the Toronto Maple Leafs' short and long-term roster planning. With the NHL salary cap projected to rise modestly in the coming years, teams must be proactive in managing their cap space, especially when it comes to emerging stars still on their second contract. For the Leafs, who already allocate a significant portion of their cap to marquee players like Auston Matthews, John Tavares, William Nylander, and Mitch Marner, who may or may not be part of the team's plans moving forward, getting value and term out of a deal with Knies is essential. Overpaying or mishandling the negotiation could limit Toronto's flexibility to address other roster needs, such as goaltending depth, defensive improvements, and secondary scoring. The broader context, RFA negotiations in today's NHL. Restricted free agent, RFA, negotiations have become a fascinating and often contentious element in NHL front offices over the past decade. More and more, top young players have opted for shorter bridge deals to bet on themselves, hoping to cash in even bigger once they've fully established their value. On the flip side, general managers prefer to lock up their key RFAs long-term, ideally buying out some of their unrestricted free agent, UFA, years and ensuring cost certainty. This is precisely the dynamic at play with Matthew Knies. While his 2024-25 season was his first true breakout, his trajectory has been steadily upward since his collegiate days with the University of Minnesota. The Leafs front office must now decide whether to commit to Knies long-term based on his current performance and potential future ceiling, or opt for a more conservative bridge contract that could, ultimately, cost them more in the long run. Analyzing Knies' game, what makes him special? Matthew Knies brings a unique skill set that is highly valued in the modern NHL. Standing at 6 feet 3 inches and weighing over 210 pounds, Knies combines size with skill, a rare and coveted combination. His ability to play a power forward style while maintaining finesse around the net makes him a nightmare for opposing defenses. During the 2024-25 campaign, he demonstrated an improved ability to drive play, especially in transition. His individual expected goals metric, 9G, of 28.7 speaks to his capability of generating quality scoring chances on a consistent basis. Moreover,